So I'm hanging out in West Seattle again today. It still feels like Santa Monica to me. Really feels like Santa Monica. Although I'm guessing Santa Monica is quite a bit more sunny than it is here today. It's been nice though, even though the weather's not perfect. It's not too cold. But the weather's not the greatest to be outside, so I've just been going to little stores and things that I normally like to go to when I'm in the area. So I got the chance to go to one of my favorite stores, which is PCC, which is a organic co-op that I just really like. It's outrageously expensive, but they have a few things that I can get there that I can't get anywhere else. And I just really like just looking around at some of the kind of fancy things that they have. Now, as usual, I didn't buy a whole lot, but they had some awesome heirloom apples that I haven't seen since I'd left California. These are my favorite heirloom apples, and so I was really happy to see them. So I just bought a few, although I probably should have really stocked up because these apples are really hard, and so they last a long time. You know, you can just throw them in a drawer or cupboard, and they really hold very well for a long period of time. So I'm kind of thinking I probably should go back before I leave the area, but being that I'm kind of short on space, I think I'm just going to enjoy the ones that I have, and hopefully they'll have them for a little bit longer. So I also got to go to my favorite little coffee shop in West Seattle. It's called C&P Coffee. Back to one of my favorite spots, C&P Coffee. Now I go there whenever I'm in the neighborhood. Just a nice little coffee shop. I think everybody likes it. It just has a really cool vibe to it. And of course the coffee's really good too. Well, I don't have a whole lot I really need to do today. It's kind of a normal Sunday for me where I can just kind of do what I want. But I really need to get a haircut because, well, I know it doesn't look that long. When it gets to about this length, it's just a bear to keep washed and styled here in the van. It just adds a few extra minutes to my morning routine, and I don't like that. So I just called to make an appointment, which is something I normally don't do because I am in West Seattle, and the place that I've been getting my haircut is in Tacoma. So a little drive just to get my haircut. But it's worth it because the young lady that has been cutting my hair for months now, I think is worth the drive. So down to Tacoma I go. So I'm back in Tacoma now, and I've got a few minutes before I've got to get to my haircut appointment. So I just thought I'd share something that I was thinking about this past week. I got an email that got me thinking about minimalism. Now, of course, I'm always thinking about minimalism because, well, I live in a little tiny van, so how could I not? Now, what got me thinking a little bit more about minimalism and van life and my life is an email offering me a free flashlight in exchange for me doing a review. Now, I get these emails quite often. People offer me something and ask me to do a review on them, and normally I turn them down. Now, at first I thought, hey, that's awesome. I could use a flashlight. This little flashlight was just like really technically advanced. Tiny little thing, fits in the palm of your hand, and supposed to be good on battery, supposed to be really durable and waterproof. And I thought, wow, that would be really useful. But would it really be all that useful for me? Now, what made me stop and reconsider replying to that email and having them send me out that little flashlight was the fact that I already have a flashlight. I have a little Mag-Lite. This is a little Mag-Lite with a LED lamp. It's very bright. It's small. It fits in the palm of my hand. It's durable. It's waterproof. It's basically very similar to the flashlight that they were offering me. Now, that flashlight was probably a little more durable, probably a little bit more waterproof, probably a little bit more technologically advanced, and it was a little smaller than this Mag-Lite that I have. But why do I need another flashlight? I already have one. And I have one that works very well and that I've found very useful. The fact of the matter is, I'm a minimalist, and I have to be a minimalist. There's nothing I can do about that. I've only got so much space. It's always funny when people tell me, oh, I need to buy this and I need to buy that, and I can find room for it in my van. You know, the fact is, I can't. I can't fit anything more into my van. Anytime I get something new, I've got to purge something. And I'm at that point now where I've got a few extra things. In fact, I've got stuff spilling over into the front cab. I've never had that before. Now, part of that is because when I started van life, I was down in Southern California, and I didn't need a whole lot of things like heavy clothes and heavy blankets, which I do now since I'm up here in the Pacific Northwest. Well, it's not really that cold. I like being warm, and so I've acquired a bunch of extra blankets and a bunch of extra sweaters and jackets. And because of that reason, I am now jammed for space. So while I'm sure a lot of people out there are going to tell me, yes, you should respond to that email and tell them to send you that free little flashlight. You know, you could find a use for it. You could give it away to somebody. You know, really, the fact of the matter is, I don't have space for this kind of stuff. Even a tiny little flashlight that would fit in the palm of my hand is really a burden on me to try to find a space for it. It really is. Now, I'm not bringing this up because I'm complaining about the lack of space that I have and that I wish that I had a bigger van that I could fit more stuff. Because as far as I'm concerned, if I had a full-size van, I would have the same issue. I'd have it packed to the brim, and anytime I'd require something new, I would have to purge something old. I think even if I had a full-size RV, if I got something new, I would have to get rid of something old. I think that's just the simple reality. You know, when I lived in a little studio apartment, I had it filled up. When I moved into a 2-bedroom house, I filled it up. As much as I'd like to be a minimalist, and as much as I really try to be a minimalist, I just have a lot of stuff. And I have a lot of stuff that I can't get rid of. And that's just the simple reality of it. the size of my van doesn't really matter. The space that I have doesn't really matter. What does matter, though, what really does matter, is being content with what we have. So this little Mag-Lite, this simple little Mag-Lite, this works perfectly well. There's nothing wrong with this. I found this light so incredibly useful. It has filled my need of having a tiny little flashlight at hand perfectly. So while there might be better flashlights out there, and I mean really there's always going to be a better flashlight out there, this one works very well for me. I think that all of us that are kind of struggling to be minimalists have this issue that we want stuff. We're bombarded from all sides. We've got advertisements no matter where we look. We've got people telling us we need things, and we start to think that we need them. But when you're really tight for space like I am, you really have to take stock at what do I really need and what works the best for me. And if we're constantly trying to upgrade and find something new and something better, that's really not minimalism. And it's really just, I think, not the best way to live van life. That's just my opinion. But like I've said before, what do I know? I'm just a guy that lives in a van.